Today we're going to be looking at the Scalper Investor by Mr. Ihor. This gentleman is a popular YouTuber as well as I believe he teaches trading on Udemy. And he's published a few EAs by now which have been very popular and have been receiving good feedback. So I have heard good things about this from some of my clients as well, and I wanted to dive into this one. This video is sponsored by the Prosperity Algo Prop Firm Bundle, a portfolio of 6 EAs designed to pass prop firms and get consistent payouts. Click the link in the description to get a 1-week free trial. So this one is the Scalper Investor, and he's very forthcoming with what strategy it's running. It's a pullback inside the Keltner channel. So this does look like a more of a mean reversion system. I would venture it's in some ways similar to a classic Bollinger Band based strategy, except he's using a Keltner channel where effectively price likely goes outside of the channel and then comes back inside, and you are trading the reversal towards the mean. So classic technical analysis strategy, it's been used for many, many years, and I'm sure he's put his own take on it though. And if you look at the exact pairs that he's trading, this primarily is trading various mean reversion pairs. So Aussie CAD it's a classic, Euro GBP, New Zealand CAD. So these are the pairs which would make sense with this kind of strategy. So it's very logical in my opinion. I believe you have the option of doing this in the M15 or H1 time frame. So higher time frames with this style of strategy are also quite smart. I found that if you try and do this on M1s or M15s, you get so many false little signals and whipsaws that it's rather challenging to do. And he also has a few prop firm settings as well, where you can, for instance, cap the max drawdown. I believe he's also going to be adding more of a trend following strategy to this. So I think when he does that, he will be increasing price as well. And effectively, he's showing that you're able to run a variety of different pairs with this EA, and that can help you kind of have more of a diversified portfolio. To date, he is running a live signal, but it's a new bot, so you can't fault the guy. And it only has a few trades, that is. But it's running on a good broker. There's a reasonable amount of money in here, so I wouldn't be surprised that the signal is going to look quite good. It just obviously it takes a bit of time to have some trades. He also has an instruction manual here, and he says he's going to be putting some more information in regards to set files. So you can download quite a few different set files for different pairs, all of which looks very good. Now, if we pull up MT5, I've taken the liberty of running a backtest here on the odd CAD. I ran it on the H1, so I think it's definitely not taking nearly as many trades, only 15 trades, as if you were to do it on the M15. So let's just do that now as well, just so we maybe have a bit of a larger sample size to work with. And I guess his whole thing here is because he's running it on so many different pairs, you don't necessarily need to have a ton of trades on any particular pair. Because if you were running a bot which only trades one pair, likely 15 trades would be insufficient. But because he says like, hey, you can run it on 10 different pairs, even if all of them only take 15 trades, that's still going to be a fairly healthy amount of trades over the span of a year. And while this runs, I'll analyze this H1 chart, which I have up here. And it's exactly doing what he says it's doing. It's a mean reversion within, like you come out of the channel, you're going back into the channel. There's also some Bollinger Bands here too. So along with Keltner channels, he seems to also be using B bands. And when you return in the channel, you then simply do more of a mean reversion style system. And it's exactly the same thing here too. And he's using a standard deviation indicator here as a confirmation. And we're seeing actually a fairly comparable amount of trades when running it on the M15, which is actually kind of interesting. But I digress to go back here. Yeah, very much classic indicator mean reversion style system. So it's using Bollinger Bands. There should be a Keltner channel in here too. I'm not seeing one so far, which is a bit odd, but maybe he has it hard-coded as well. And then we're also seeing standard deviation. So it could be that a hard-coded Keltner channel is actually doing the trigger, and he's using Bollinger Band and a standard deviation more as the filters to see whether or not it's a good time to enter or not. And yeah, like don't have much more to say. This is a real trading system. The one kind of apprehensive factor for me is that it's using a lot of indicators. And when you have this many indicators, it's rather easy to overfit the system. Mr. Ihor does appear to be a very knowledgeable developer. So there's a good probability that he has followed best practices like out of sample, in sample testing, as well as like perhaps running even a walk forward analysis or Monte Carlo simulations in order to make sure that it is robust. But the reason why I'm not a huge fan of this style of system is you have to be really, really careful when doing a pure like heavy indicator system that you're not overfitting. because if you have a ton of indicators, you can run like 10 million iterations with all these different indicators and pick the best one, which will give you a beautiful, beautiful back test. But when you actually run it going forward out of sample, it doesn't tend to work super well. My one caveat though is if this system works with many different pairs, that would be a really good sign, because if it's able to, using the same settings, also run, let's try New Zealand CAD for instance. If it's able to run a variety of different pairs with the same settings, that's a good sign that it's actually likely rather robust. Because if he's giving you a completely different set file for every single pair and he's run so many different automations, that's not a great sign, because it means that there's increased risk of overfitting. But if it's robust across a variety of pairs, and I venture it is, that's usually a better sign for this type of system. But we can see here I'm running it on the NZD CAD, and while I kind of do some more scrolling here, we will wait for it to finish. So far it's been going fairly quickly, which is also a good sign, because it's definitely, that usually means that it's a more honest system. So far to date, the performance, we are on a slight drawdown here with the NZD CAD, but it seems to be picking up as well. So maybe to summarize, this is definitely an honest system. This bot developer knows what he's doing, and this is a real trading strategy. It isn't my preferred style of trading strategy, but there's plenty of very successful algo traders who use this indicator heavy approach. Kevin Davey is a pretty popular one. So there is definitely something here. If you like this style of system, maybe just kind of inquire with the developer about what his traditional EA development methodology is, just because the increased overfitting risk. But from what I can see so far, honest looks like a real strategy. This is a real strategy. It's fairly common actually. And I think that most likely there is definitely something here, and there could be worse and further exploration. As a final point, maybe just we can wait until to see how long, or for the signal to get a bit longer, so we have a bit more indicative information. But once we have that, we should be in a pretty good spot to make a decision regarding the long-term future of this bot. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.